To the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We are again. Remind everybody we're recording and please put your cell phones on silent.
I probably do that.
Thank you for reminding me.
Okay. First up, we've got authorizing the payment of the bills.
I'll make a motion.
Ed makes the motion, I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, very good. Next up is privilege of the floor. I see we've got Fred. Fred, do you have anything you want to jump in and say?
How's that? Can you hear me?
We got you now.
All right. Other than Mr. Clune and I are having meetings with the seniors, I don't think there's a lot to bring to the table tonight, Hal.
Very good.
Fred, something came up for last minute for me. I will not be able to make the meeting tomorrow.
Okay, all right. I'll make sure Kevin can, and if he can't, we'll just have to come up with a different time.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Pat.
All right, moving on to new business, the quarterly financial review presentations.
Okay, so as you look at the pages, if you look, it appears the sewer fund is actually in line with the budget. However, when you go to the next page, it's the one that says sewer fund for 3 months, budget to actual.
Right,
The home and careers line is actually higher at 3 months, and it is projected to be over the year. So last year, we ended with a deficit in this with the Cortland wastewater treatment plant with fees coming in higher, and that's expected again. So we're in the process of analyzing all the water and sewer fees so that we can come in here for new rates. Ed is the chair of the committee. We were just talking about which day for him to meet with us.
perfect.
So we,
As you know, my feeling that we should lower the base rate and increase the consumption charge.
It's okay too.
Yeah.
It's all on the table.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's nothing, nobody's got a set idea. We just got.
yeah.
I want to talk to McAdam.
Top,
Who's down
you threw me with
in
this.
the Adams or McAdam?
Bruce Ed.
Bruce
Adams.
Adams. Bruce Adams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he knows his stuff.
yeah, I went on a tour once and with them to check on worms for their composting.
Vermiculture.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
great
that's
idea,
great.
I thought. But anyhow, yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna work on that and look
Okay.
at, what's driving all the rates and where the future tends to lead, which from what I'm gathering isn't good. See throwing on more and more requirements, which they pass on to us.
Right,
And then, of course, we'll have to check to see how our water infiltration, seeing some spring is over, we want to track that flow kind of thing.
hopefully that's improving
Well,
after the project.
Let's find out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the second quarter.
Anyhow, I'll be working on that pretty hard
good.
next week.
And then, so in the sewer here, we also, in that schedule, we're also analyzing all the other rates around here. So that we've done comparisons between like Cortland and anywhere
Oh,
else
good.
that has a sewer plant.
Perfect.
There's commercial rates, there's regular rates, so a number of sewers. Everywhere though in the county, it is based on the water consumption for sewer.
Right,
So that is the one thing that is standard everywhere.
yeah, well, yeah, because it's, otherwise you'd have to have a meter.
Yep.
for
We're
your
going
house.
out, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't want to check that meter.
So then you continue to the water fund and you'll see all of the water fund is below budget, whether it's yearly or 3 months. And then you come back and you'll see where I mentioned the sewer fund may run a deficit due to increasing costs for the wastewater treatment. The allocation of the admin expenditures, which are basically any legal fees, lawyer fees, because insurances, they're all paid in the next quarter. They're not,
Oh, okay.
so they'll
Right,
always
right.
be zero. And our debt in this principal seems high because it's paid in May. So it's a one-time, once a
Got
year,
it.
so that's expected.
Tammy, is that one?
That's employee benefits, and we had to pay that at the beginning.
No, the debt service.
Oh, yeah, that's that one. Yep.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I looked at the other row.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the debt service, what happens is they're just due when the bonds are due. They're usually May, and we just have to pay all the principal then.
Okay. So that's pretty much, I was just saying, because now it looks like we're over, but in actuality, we got it. We budgeted for that.
Yep.
So
So
that's
we
not,
knew it was gonna happen in May. It's
Okay.
just, this is just a simplified budget
all right.
to actual. When you go to the general fund, you'll see all of those are in budget for the year. The debt service on the next page, of course, will be over because for the fire truck also, we pay all the principal in May. That's the bond schedule, and that's why. Other than that, everything is generally in line in budget. The only issue, which we're talking about later, might potentially be in the garbage, in the refuse pickup. So recreation is also busier the second quarter on, so there wasn't much activity. Also with COVID, it was just ending, so a
Sure.
lot of that, there's very little expenses till now. The roads aren't paid yet. In fact, that might not be to the third quarter based on timing. So we plan that like quarterly, but
Right.
there's no cost. And then our large insurance payments for fire and for liability are all in this quarter, so you'll see those at zeros.
So going back to the paving, we're about, and Phil, go ahead and chime in, but we're about 3 weeks behind because of the weather. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's exactly right. Every day it rains, the paver's behind another day.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Phil, in the contract with them, do we have a to be completed by date set in stone?
No, we don't. It's just a lot of it's weather.
Yeah. All right, there is has it ever happened in your experience where due to weather and circumstances, they weren't able to come and do it that year and we had to go to the next year?
Nope.
Okay, good. Just checking.
It might be late fall, early winter, but it'll get done.
All right.
And then the next pages are more, I wanted to show you some of our revenue collections. You'll see our real property, we've collected almost 96%. It rounds to 96.
That's excellent.
And then our sales tax, we're actually a little above what we budgeted at collecting 161,000, and we budgeted 615.
It's on the paper that they were getting more sales taxes than pre-COVID, so.
Yep, so we're
Ooh,
probably,
yes, we're back, sales
Yeah.
tax, but, you know, wow, we'll have to see what the county does.
A lot of pent up retail therapy.
Well, yeah, I spent my,
And
well,
houses are like, all the houses are flying.
you
That's
know,
the other thing.
any questions?
Nope, that's excellent. Thank you very much.
it's always good to be above water,
That's true.
so to speak.
All right. Next up is the MOU with the Living History Center to donate one of the Village of Homer welcome signs so that they can display it whenever and however they so choose.
The curator has already been over there.
Picked out one. Good.
And they have already got a spot picked out for it. They're already working on how to
Beautiful.
frame it.
Excellent, excellent. All
That's
right.
great, I'm all for that. Do I need a motion?
I make a motion that we authorize the mayor to sign a lease agreement with the Living History Center, the Homeville Museum to be specific, for display of one of our old village signs.
For a little bit of discussion, me and Pam were both down there. If you haven't been down there lately, go check it out. The improvements that they've made,
I can't wait to see the new firehouse.
it's just beautiful. So can I second?
You sure can. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, now it is signed. I waited.
Yeah.
There you go. Just like that. Okay,
Did we already do a motion to pay the bills?
Yes.
yes, we did. You made it.
Yeah, good. That's it. Yeah, I didn't check it off on my checklist here, that's bad.
All right, next up is allocating the ARPA funds to the following: lost revenue, purchase of large water meters, and water fund infrastructure, and the Peace Trail allocation. So,
The lost revenue
Yep.
comes up to 68,731,
all
and we
right,
would split that over the 2 years.
got it.
The large water meters are approximately 35,000.
All
And that
right,
would, we could split that over the 2 years based on the time they're coming.
right.
And the Peace Trail would be improving the parks, and that would be approximately 15,000.
And by doing that, we will utilize 100% of our allocation, or do we
Oh,
have?
no, we have more.
Okay,
That's all I have.
but we don't have to, we can go back and, okay, good,
Yep.
perfect.
We're
Yes,
just allocating what we have so far and
Great.
making plans.
We're
And
gonna
then
get
so
about
can-
330, right, or 315?
We got
Total?
158,000, we're getting 316 approximately, so we've already received it. Yep, we received our first half already.
Oh, nice.
So we opened an account at our last meeting,
Yeah,
and
remember.
it was already moved over, so.
Okay, good.
awesome. All righty, we have a motion,
I'll make the motion that we allocate the ARPA funds as listed here.
A second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, all right. Next up, appointment to DPW department.
So we're looking to appoint Nate Parks as a laborer. He confirmed today, just before the meeting.
Okay,
Pat did interviews with Phil.
great,
and so
All the candidates were exceptional.
okay.
Great.
Do you think the most exceptional of the exceptionals?
Well, yeah.
It doesn't have to be-
That's good.
That's, yeah.
All right, we have a motion,
I'll make the
I'll second it.
all right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, welcome aboard. Next up, approve Jim Tulin Senior to be a substitute laborer as needed.
That man just can't retire.
He will not ever retire, really, truly.
I would love to make one.
All right,
I'll second that.
discussion, all in favor?
Aye. Great guy.
Unanimous, great guy, yep. Let's see, next, we're gonna skip trash, and we're gonna go to approving the Little White Church grant budgets.
This is for a grant.
Yeah.
It's not enough. I guess it is, but I don't think it is.
Probably not.
It's way under half.
Well, grant budget only goes so far. This is for the work that was outlined that Randy did originally. So what we're going for, you can see where the village funds do, as far as the set aside, and the engineering is maybe go down or up a little bit depending. So
It's really not too bad, though, less than 40 on our end gets us 450,000.
But it doesn't fix the place. I guess I need more, I'm not against this, but I'm just confused, because I thought we needed $1 million.
Well, I think that was a number that we sort of just rough
No,
guessed
I
at.
believe it's a pretty good number personally. And this right here probably may stop it, but if you don't get the other 500, you're ultimately gonna fail anyhow.
This is gonna be a phased approach.
Yeah,
We're
All right,
gonna,
so this is phase one.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, see, it doesn't say that.
that's why we're having.
right, phase one on the top of your sheet.
All right, I will. Okay, so it's phase one, it's 450. Okay, that I can get on board. with
And this
that.
is going for, yeah, a specific, two specific grants. There are more grants that will,
Okay, yeah, because I want the Little White Church to get done. It's not a.
Yeah.
It just, if you only do half and, it's just gonna, 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. No, we're going with Toma's expertise on what they think we can get this round.
All right,
and the phase one is more to secure the building.
Yep.
Keeping it from falling in, so any cosmetic work goes to
so they
goes to
feel
waste.
good that they could probably get
Just-
phase 2s and 3s or whatever.
And some of that phase 2 or 3 may be on the village,
Yeah.
depending on what the cosmetic work is needed, but
Well,
as the
on
years
bill, just a
years
half a
progress.
million.
Well,
There's other things we're looking at. I mean, we're looking at community involvement, we're looking at outside sources.
But this
But
is, yeah,
this
this is
just for the grant.
what we need to
portion
get
right now.
done, yeah. And if we are able to get this done and, you know, they like to see people that get grants execute the grants
Understand.
successfully.
I'm just concerned that, you know, we're getting involved and we're gonna get the taxpayer with, you know, our shares on this, and then it's just gonna sit there because it won't be ready to be used. Because they need that other $500,000 to make it
Yeah,
viable.
we,
Just concerned.
I gotcha.
I'm against it. All right, you convinced me. I'm good.
I make a motion that we approve the Little White Church grant budgets, phase 1.
I'll second it just because.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Now Ed's all spicy. I was all spicy when I came in, now Ed's all spicy. We're
No,
gonna
I
have a
want
good
this to
discussion.
succeed. It's just that I'm just afraid that it's not enough.
It's not, but it's
Gotta
it's
staple
what we can do.
But we
Yeah,
have a plan to get it, and that's really what I wanted to make
Right.
sure that we understand. So satisfied that Thomas on it. That's a phase 1. There'll be a phase 2. We got to show a little progress
right.
that we can execute, because we do have some pretty good managers here, I think. And yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so we voted, right? Unanimous?
Yes.
All right, very good. Next up, we're doing budget adjustments.
So most of these are just within the own like department, moving it to the actual lines. You'll see the fire insurance was in the unallocated insurance. That's where we had booked it last year. So it's just moving it to where the actual expenses. The large one is the restore grant that we got and paid right out.
Got it, yep.
So
For a minute, we were millionaires.
I know.
All right, we have a motion to,
I'll make a motion that we accept the budget journal adjustments this year.
second discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, now on to the fun stuff. First up, I guess we're gonna talk a little bit about garbage. So, the office has done, Tanya and Dan, and probably others have done a great job of pulling out a lot of historical information for us, because a lot of this stuff took place. Only one gentleman was here for it.
That would be me.
The law, the senior at the table, so he's got the institutional knowledge. So we've been getting some pushback from people that own these multi-unit dwellings, that they feel like they should have one set of cans. The law, as it was passed, is that they don't. You guys can find that, right? If you see it, it
On
is,
page 190.
Yeah,
Just for
it's like
most of
the
it.
4th page in, where the law was passed. Well, the first law of 2014 was that I'll read it because actually it merits reading.
Resolution number 1 of 2014.
Resolution 1 of 2014. Whereas the Village of Homer has provided trash hauling services to both its residential and commercial residents of the village without distinction, and whereas commercial users of this village service place a burden upon the service disparate from that of residential unit users, and whereas the Village Board of Trustees wishes to have the cost of municipal services borne in proportion to their use by all residents, and whereas the Village Board of Trustees deems the longevity of this municipal service is dependent upon the equitable distribution of its costs, now and therefore be it resolved as Resolution 1 of 2014 that the Village of Homer, New York, commencing the first day of March 2014, will institute a fee for trash hauling services for commercial residents at the following rates under the following circumstances. And then $9 per week for a 95-gallon bin for trash, $5 per week for the recycling bin, and then there are dumpster charges. Commercial residents may purchase multiple bins for either trash or recyclables as their properties may require. Income rental properties exceeding 2 units are considered commercial residents for the purpose of this municipal service and resolution. Commercial residents are not required to utilize this municipal service and may elect to have their trash removed at their expense by a private refuse hauler of their choosing or by contracting privately with the village's current hauler. And it was unanimous. So
What's the issue then?
the issue is, we're being told that there was a meeting between, I guess, these large property owners and the village, where the village said you can have 1 can of 1 garbage and 1 recycling can. Now, I can understand that. I can see that. If we want to change the law that allows that. However, given the nightmare that garbage has become to the office and the fact that they spend an inordinate amount of time dealing with overflowing cans, people putting stuff to the side, people throwing garbage in places it shouldn't be, the cemetery, other people's bins, etc. If we were to do that, I would want to institute a fine schedule for non-compliance. Basically, you put out a garbage can that's overflowing or has stuff on the side of, I would say at minimum $150 per instance. No exceptions, no excuses, and the fee goes to the property owner.
It's the only way you can do it.
Yeah. And that means, and we have to talk to Dante, because, you know, if a tenant goes to put their garbage in the can and it's full, and then they jump in their car and drive up the road and throw it in someone else's can, we should go after them through Chief Pittman for, I'm not exactly sure, there's got to be some,
They'd have to. catch
whatever the
it
site
in
is.
act.
Oh, it's not hard. They always leave mail in there.
Well, I'm just saying. you know,
But I would want not only to go after the tenant that did it, but I would want to then turn around and fine the landlord as well. Because they're creating a situation where the tenant has no,
No liability.
well, no, they have nowhere
Trash.
to put their garbage. I mean, I don't know how you can have a 4 apartment building with 1 can and not ever have a problem.
Oh, yeah, for older folks, for single residents.
Here's why we're having an issue, is that I have 1 unit where there's 4 people,
Right,
and then I have other ones where there's 1.
right.
So, you know, the ones with 4 people, they're gonna fill it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So, but what I'm saying, what it is you've got a commercial, right? That's the thing that you own to make money. And so we shouldn't be charging, you know, Ed extra money so that you can make money on that. And and I think that's why they passed this law back in 2014. You know, they talk about they want it to be equitable and they don't want to put the burden of commercial ventures on residents. But I can see the argument that if you've got a property, you should have a set of cans. But I want to fine people to the bejesus if because, you know, it's constant. This garbage issue is constant.
A couple of things is, one, the overflowing, we know it's not just rentals and it's not just.
Oh, no.
That goes across the board. So I don't want it to
Yeah.
seem like you're.
No, I'm not singling out any.
Um,
I know plenty of residences that do it too.
My other concern is, you know, this came about in 2014. and talking with some of the other ones, they see, apparently there was another meeting, and I remember we were discussing that. And that does not seem to line up with what was in what we have here, which is the law, it's in the code.
Right.
So and I'm amenable to making changes, but one of the things we have to do is we either have to enforce the code, which is what we're trying to do. We have to either change the code or we have to get rid of it because it's no sense having it in here if we're not going.
Right.
And so just, our staff, as we're getting together and they're going through things, we're trying to catch up. They're catching some of these things that have not been enforced these past 6 years.
Right.
And that's why this
Mhm.
change, and it's not that it wasn't there, it was always there.
Yeah, we're just addressing the issues as we can get to them.
So what I would my recommendation is we get together, we re-look at this because I don't know. I think we can make this better. I think we can address some concerns and make this equitable because our renters are our residents and how we want to differentiate between the commercial entities. But I guess my biggest thing is apparently there was a meeting. And they all were good with what came out of it, but what came out of it was never codified.
And another problem too is everybody has their own definition of what is residential, what is commercial. And in here it shows, I highlighted it, income rental properties exceeding 2 units are considered commercial residents for the purpose of this municipal service. So whatever everybody else's preconceived notions of what a commercial residence is, this is what our definition of it is. This is
My
law.
other thing is if you are a tenant and you rent a property and heat is included and water is included, I gotta figure that the landlord has adjusted your rent to take that into consideration, right? They're not just out of the goodness of their heart providing that. So this is just another utility that if you've got to raise the rent $10 a month on your apartment to cover it.
It says they could have bought cans anyhow and paid by the week.
Well,
It
that's,
says we would have picked them up if they would have paid for it.
but that's another issue, and I think Tanya can address that, and that's an issue we have with Syracuse haulers.
Yeah, we do not want to do that.
Yeah, they charged a rental fee on top of throwing it in our garbage
So
to someone.
by that itself, which is in the current code, we need to address that because that is not working.
Yeah, that's an administrative nightmare.
All right, so
I
we
can,
need to have a committee to do garbage and report back in next month or 2 weeks, or what do you want to do, Mayor?
But I think we definitely need to amend this, if nothing else.
Is it at all possible to designate the number of cans by the number of residents? What if you have a large family in a house? Say you've got eight people in that family, is one can enough?
Well, probably not, but that's,
But they could buy more if they want.
well, we're only allowed so much in our contract. That's what I was trying to get. And so if people buy more and they put them in with the village, we're charged more in our contract with Syracuse haulers.
Oh,
So
yeah.
between,
Yeah.
there's a couple of things in here. I did read every minutes from 2012 through today. There were, in doing this, I can tell you there were 3 meetings at the community building, but nothing ever came into the minutes or a resolution or ever back. There are landowners that don't have cans too. So there are landowners that have multi-units with none that, I can tell you a few, but they went right out and got them because of the letter in 2014. And then some of the new ones don't have any, but others do. And that's the disparity. Then you can see I have a whole list of what Syracuse haulers delivered in 2014, and it's sporadic if they delivered them to a multi-unit or not. So you'll see I color coordinated it, and the green got delivered and the yellow did not. It's on another one I can email you.
Oh,
This is
okay.
the ones that Mike still has to check are in green.
I got a question.
But I can send you that, and it was like on the same road, some are delivered and some were not.
How many cans do we have in the contract? Because I read the
1,200.
contract and I don't remember seeing it.
We can only get up to 12 or 1,300 total.
So is it 1,200 or 13?
I have to look again.
1,275 or
It's either 1,200 or 13. I just have to go back
So,
and look. It's on my
1,300
desk.
cans is what's in the contract.
Yep.
So under that, they're making money, quote, unquote.
Yep.
Over that, they're pissed off.
Yeah, they
So
Oh,
where
they
are
could not
we
that many.
versus 1,300?
Well, I'd have to call.
And
I'm still
what's
waiting
this?
for a list from them. I've asked them for a little over a month. So you'll see there were a couple, and the things I gave you guys, that were landowners that were multi, and they were billed at the very beginning.
Yeah,
And then it just, other than the one, it just stopped for everyone else but this one. Dr. Morris was.
yeah, well, maybe it stopped.
Morris is the only one that I ever knew of
Yeah.
when I got here in
In
2015.
There's
theory, it
another
could have
one
stopped
here.
after this meeting that we can't find the minutes from.
Well, yeah, it was any of the special meetings, so whatever came out of it never came back to the board. So. So they probably met and talked, but there's nothing that came back to the board in the resolution.
My thing is, and this is a kind of a theme that we're working on dealing with when it comes to this and recreation and everything else, is I cannot abide free riders, right? I do not want our taxpayers paying for other people's business ventures or, whatever it is. That's just not fair. I want this to be fair. And so I'm not sure what the solution is, but if we did allow people to have cans that have these multi-units, then I would really want to make sure that we aggressively find.
Oh, no.
And it wouldn't just be the rental units, as we talked about. There are plenty of residences, single family houses that
What if the
overflow
people are
their
throwing
cans.
trash in the recyclables and then it gets part of our tipping fee, which we have
Right.
to pay the tax on again,
Yeah,
or not tax, we gotta pay for it.
yeah,
And they could do that almost on every load if they want to. Somebody didn't empty one ketchup bottle and they threw it in the recycle, it's done.
I mean, I even noodled around the idea of, all right, our contract with Syracuse haulers is X number, 200 and X dollars, reduce the taxes by that, and everyone get your own garbage service.
That would really hurt because this is such a good deal. People don't realize
Well, I know,
how inexpensive this is. Even, but the
Yeah.
pain in the butt for the staff is not right.
yeah, it's
But
gotta
it's a
stop.
bargain and people don't realize how really good this is. From when I lived in Vermont, this is a bargain.
Yeah,
Not to mention the other thing about the consistency, 2 days a week, we have cans out.
right,
If we were to go someplace else, then we'd have cans out just about
Oh,
every
probably
day.
every day, right,
Yeah,
because you have
because
5 different services,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
You'd never know what was being left and not picked up for.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the other thing that, and I want to be very hard on this is people put stuff out to the curb that doesn't belong there.
Yeah.
We have historically just picked it up eventually. I've told the DPW, do not pick it up,
Right,
do not pick it up. Leave it there.
call.
I
And
hope they
eventually
don't,
we'll find
actually,
them.
because I occasionally put stuff out curb, but it's things that I think people will want to take to their home.
And that's fine, right? And yeah,
The 3-day rule.
people,
Yeah, exactly. If it's
yeah,
not gone in
people will
the
come.
first half hour, then
Right,
I know
people
that
come and get
nobody wants-
stuff, that's no issue, but there are things that people put out there that they know no one's ever going to get. And that we wind up having to come and take it away, and that's not fair. That again is an additional cost that everyone else has to bear because someone won't follow the rules, and I've
So
had
how
that.
do you proceed, Mayor? How would you like us to proceed?
I'm not gonna name any names or anything like that, but I know of at least 3 people that have these multi-rooms. I want to talk to them and see if they can help me go, recollect what was done. Because I remember when we left, everyone was happy. If I can have someone.
From what 2 people that own them have told me is that the village, it was decided that they would get 1 set of cans for each property that they owned. If it's a 16 unit, you
And
get
that's
1 set of
exactly
cans.
what's happening next to me with, I won't mention his name, but it's a 5-unit. They only have 1 set of cans.
I don't know how you can,
They
Make that
actually are
work.
pretty good. They're usually not.
I was talking to
overflowing.
someone today that has a 6-unit, and that seems, it's 1 can, it seems to work.
Yeah, it does. It's
So
right next to
how?
me.
I don't know how, I mean,
But they were happy with it.
yeah, well, is it work because a couple of their residents, when they go to put the garbage in, it's full, so they drive it up the road and throw it in Pat's garbage can.
I don't know that.
I don't know
think
how
so.
you have a 6 unit that uses one garbage can and you don't have issues.
I do know they
I
have
know-
issues on who hauls it out.
I know my house every week, I
Yeah,
pretty much
six
have to
people.
get up on top of it, stomp the lid down in order for it to close because it's overflowing everything.
And so, and this is, you know, if we go back and we allow the 1 can per address, I want to put in fines and I want no exceptions. I don't care if it's the day after Christmas. I don't care
Yeah.
if it's, you know, what,
You
I don't
gotta
care
save
what
it.
it is.
You gotta save it, and
Right.
parcel it out.
Because I just don't want this to continue. It's a huge drain on our staff here, and it's the time that they spend monkeying around with this, they can't work on other things. It becomes just an additional cost to the village.
I'm with you. So how are you gonna proceed? Are we gonna get a little meeting? Are we just gonna?
We're in a meeting right now. I don't.
Oh, you
think-
wanna solve it tonight?
Yeah.
Is that what, oh, you do?
Why don't
Okay.
we put a thing in charge of Kevin, since you have some to me, and I will work with you with them and come back with a proposal with the fines at the next board meeting.
Because the other thing we can do
I
is
volunteered you.
we can talk with Kevin,
I have
our
no-
code enforcement officer. And whatever we do, we want to make sure it's enforceable.
Yeah,
So we'll get with him because he's gonna fall on him or probably somebody from DPW. So let's make sure that what we come up with, our code enforcement officer goes, yep, I can enforce that. Dante goes, yep, it's legal, and we can go from there.
and part of it, I know that the DPW has been going around, and if it doesn't get picked up because it's overflowing, we've picked it up and no more
I
of that.
agree. And maybe they have to have their own little, maybe we can make a little law that they can actually write up, like the code guy, give them the
Well, I think they just
additional duties.
send the address right to Kevin and
Just
let
send
him do it.
yeah.
Well, okay, well, I'm just.
But like you
saying,
said, you say it, like when my garbage cans are full and I'm a single person and I fill them up,
Yeah,
when they're full,
I say.
well,
that.
it's gonna sit there until next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I've
just sits in
done
my
that many
garage.
times.
Yeah,
Especially cardboard, because we
Yeah.
bought everything from Amazon. Tons of cardboard.
so I do not want our DPW doing that anymore.
Okay.
They've got other
I'm with
stuff
you.
they do and it's just not fair to the people that are following the rules. Maybe that's where it really
All right,
trying
so
to say.
what did we solve here?
So Kevin and Tanya are the beginning of the task force.
Okay,
And they're gonna come back to us with a proposal, which includes the fine schedule,
which is fine.
which I hope is
We'll
hefty.
send out an email for any of you who want to come, or
Perfect.
whenever Kevin wants to meet, but we'll start with who you wanted to meet with.
Danny, can I just ask again, what was the cost per residence that you came up with? So it's
$84.
$84.
Which has increased
Yeah.
from about $54 in 2012.
Yep.
So it just has gone up and up.
Is
and
that
up.
dividing the 1,300
It's
units into
divide-
the
No, it's
cost?
dividing 2020's cost. If you go by 2021, it actually went down to 75. It's dividing it by the number of people.
How was the 1,300 divided up?
The 1,300 is because that's how years ago they determined how many residents were here without the landowners, the multi-unit landowners. So that's where the number came from.
So you divide 1,300 into the 260,000 or whatever.
Actually,
it
I
is.
divided the 260,000 divided by the number of residents and homeowners,
That's
so I
not
came up
right.
with
Oh,
the,
that's $84 a kid. When you got
in
4
2020.
people, it's
Yeah.
$300 for a 4-person and $84 for me? No, it's
Well-
gotta be by resident. Because that's really how you need to do it.
we would do it by the number of units when we
Well,
find from
I would use
Syracuse
the
Haulers Company.
1,300 divided, you know, to me,
Oh,
that tells
yeah.
you every
It's
can, what does
easy.
it cost to pick up a can, dump it, recycle it. blah, blah, blah.
Well, right, but you don't, you don't.
3,200 people, I mean, really, you know? I'm gonna charge some kid's baby, you know, garbage fee.
It's 200.
Diapers.
If you do it
So
by
it's
residents,
$200,
it's
okay,
200.
so it's $200 a year divided by 12, you know, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
That's what? $18 a month? That's bargain,
It's a bargain, but
bargain.
it's,
It was 25
we're gonna
to
have to raise
30 10
taxes
years
to
ago,
cover it
come
if
on,
we
you
don't.
know?
Yeah, we never include everybody because it's only supposed to have that many residential. And what happens is it's gone over and we've had to adjust our budgets every year. So it went from 180,000 in twenty
Well, yeah, the
fourteen.
tipping fees have gone
Yeah.
up too, from $40,
60 to 80.
$50 to 80, and they'll go to 100,
60.
110. When I left Vermont 13 years ago, it was $90 a ton.
Yeah.
So
So
that was
the,
then.
I think back in 2014, they were just trying to get a hold of the garbage issue, because that's when it went from the 180 something to
Right.
over 200,000. So.
Yeah, then that's when, as you probably remember, you guys almost got rid of the garbage
Mhm.
service altogether back then.
I'm gonna go with the blue bag.
You're gonna go with the blue bags or with
Ooh.
everyone getting their own hauler.
Ooh, that was it.
No, I mean, it's a great service that we provide.
Picking
But,
up leaves, I mean, that's a rare thing too.
oh yeah, no, we
Those
provide
are
a lot of
all great
services
things.
to our
There's a lot of
residents, but
services. And good water, wow.
we can't let people who are just consistently not following the rules muck it up for everyone else.
I'm with you. All right, so
From this.
you guys are gonna come
Yeah.
back in a week or next meeting, I guess, 2 weeks from now?
We kind of have to, because that's where I was getting, the residents were told September 1st. So we have to come up with a solution to give them time to either buy something or not buy something. So the landowners were told September
Is
1st.
that enough time?
Let's
See
almost
where
have
we
enough
are.
time, because let's say we do come back in a couple weeks, now we're into August by whatever margin. Them getting able to.
Well, how
get
many
hold of
cans
somebody
do
to
they
come get
need?
it. No, I'm just saying, if they were to go search for their own service,
Well, that's
it's
what
gonna
we,
take time.
we sent the letter now for that.
Oh, you mean
It's
for the
already
commercial
done.
guys? Well, how many commercial places do we have?
It's on the spreadsheet.
Leeches,
Oh, how many
Oh, yeah.
commercial providers you mean?
No, how many commercial properties do we have in the village? It
Right
looks
here.
like maybe 30 or 40.
oh, it's more than that, but it's 2 pages this, I would guess at between 50 and 60. But some of these are already going somewhere else.
2, 4, 6, 8. Six, 8, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38. So, yeah, you're talking 40 a page. So there's 80 commercial properties. So you're talking 80 people that either need, that are okay with their can or 2 cans and they can pay for it. And we can charge them in fines, obviously, or they gotta get dumpsters, which is, a lot of them probably already have that.
No, the
Well-
ones that have a say it on here.
Yeah, there's not that
Yes,
Yeah,
many.
there's
because I say most of these guys have trash bins. I see it.
Yeah, a
Right,
lot that don't.
Well, not for me. There's not too many holes there.
Oh, no, it's.
So
these
per-
guys?
It's,
Right.
no,
So these guys are the ones
these all
that-
have one.
Yeah.
It's, that guy right there.
If they've got a number, they've got a
And here's a
can.
leach dumpster, and a Syracuse dumpster, there's a dumpster. Yeah, they have a can. That's been identified.
yeah, and then I went
Because
into
what's
this,
gonna happen if we ever, probably never happen, is, that they want their cans back. They're gonna say, okay, Homer, we can't find all these cans. They're missing. You owe us X,
that's,
and it won't be $50 either.
Well, yeah, that will charge the property owner,
that's why.
because we
we-
know who has what can.
All right.
That's why we did the audit, because Mike and a couple of the other DPW guys have been going around checking
Yeah, I
them and
know.
writing them down.
That's a good idea every now and then, yeah. All right, so a couple weeks. we'll have,
But Tanya, we're still short a list from Syracuse, so.
Yep, we've been waiting for the list from
We
them,
need to
a
kind
new
of
one.
get on them for that.
I am.
Big fan.
Okay.
All right, well, that was fun. Now, next up is discussing the MRTA. I always call it the MRTA, but it's certainly not. No, it is the MRTA. The MRTA marijuana issue,
Marijuana Reform and Tax Act.
something like that.
Merton.
Yeah, and it's actually the MRTA 2 that we passed. but-
Regulation and
All right,
tax.
so what do we need to do here?
Well, so we've got, here are the options. If we do nothing, dispensaries will be legal and on-site consumption premises will be legal. And this means like you have like a cafe where people can come and, do whatever, eat a brownie or whatever. we can, if we do nothing, they're both legal. We can ban both of them, which just means that we won't have those businesses in the village, but of course, marijuana is still legal to consume anywhere. Or we can ban one or the other.
But if we,
But everybody can walk down the street with a joint, right?
Currently, yeah, and you'll be able to anyway,
No
no matter what we do.
do. It's like.
Kicking yourself in the teeth.
We're just
without getting
basically-
the tax dollars from it.
Not gonna get the revenue.
so if we,
And do we get revenue or does
Yes.
the county?
That's what I'm
No,
getting
we
to.
get a lot of it.
if we opt, if we do nothing, we're automatically in.
Okay.
And out of the 4% tax that is on there, 1% goes to the county,
And 3% goes to us.
3% goes to us and or the town if they opt in as well.
But if the town opts out, then we get all 3%.
Now, if we opt out of both, we get nothing. But people can still grow the plants, they can still smoke, they can still do anything else. It's just that we won't have a dispensary or on-site consumption, but they can still do everything else.
Do we have zoning for, that you could, not have it next to the school or?
Well,
It's
it
in
falls,
here.
it falls within the same things as tobacco-free zones.
Right.
If there's a place where you're not allowed to smoke tobacco, you're not allowed to smoke cannabis. It's 500 feet from, is it 500 feet or 200 feet from schools or churches? I think it's 500 feet from churches, 200 feet from schools.
Okay,
You cannot zone specifically to try to zone it out or into certain locations.
so basically you either allow it in case somebody wants it, and that doesn't mean they necessarily will. come to home.
Retail dispensaries or on-site consumption establishments may be located, may not be located within 500 feet of school grounds, or within 200 feet of a house of worship. It says with, but, or it says may, but I'm sure that's a typo. I'm sure that it may not.
Which pretty much all of our business locations fit the bill.
Well, no, I mean, like the old gas station across from the Speedway, that would be, that's more than 500 feet away from the school.
Yeah.
So,
The positive thing is like on the green, while we're having our concerts, because that's
The school.
within school and church, you don't have to worry about enjoying a concert and getting a secondhand waft.
All right, I went to college, so I'm not against marijuana.
well, I don't know if that's true.
I agree on the green.
It's
So-
100 feet of an
Well, even if
entrance.
it's not, it's still 500 feet from an entrance to,
Well, but that's for
And
the
I-
businesses.
Its
I don't-
consumption is 100 feet from the school.
so.
I think consumption is different from selling.
Yeah, it's
I
on
guess
each
I would
feet.
like to hear from the
I mean, if there's no
residents
smoking,
a little
there's no
bit.
smoking.
I'm not against it, but I could be swayed, so I need to hear from people.
I have not heard anyone who's against it yet.
Okay.
I know Pat has heard,
I've had.
he's had a couple.
I had a couple, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if we wanna say no, we will lose out on the revenue. It will still be legal everywhere.
Yeah, people still do drugs and they're illegal too, so I mean, that's,
Yeah,
Chief Pittman can tell you, how much issues we have with it.
Something of this magnitude, I think we need to let the residents decide.
Yeah, and the state has already said it's okay, so I think we need to hear the people,
well, then,
come talk with
then
us
if
a
we-
little bit. Do we have to sign something tonight?
No,
we've got to, until August, we have to decide tonight. Don't
We
we?
do?
When do we have to have the information to the
You
Board
have-
of Elections to
Oh,
push it to referendum?
That's August 2nd.
2nd August, 2 August, Monday.
So we have to decide tonight.
To put it to a referendum?
If we want to make it, if we want to put it to a referendum. If not, if we vote to ban it and don't then also vote to send it to a referendum, then we're putting the onus on the residents to go get a huge amount of signatures to put it to referendum, which is really not
All right,
hearing from our residents.
Hold on a second, just because there's a for villages, it's a little different than towns. And I think
Yeah.
when I interpreted this, is that we can decide to send this right to referendum. We don't need any signatures. We don't need to put the onus on anybody to do anything. We as a board can say, we're putting this to a public referendum right now. Now, how we word it, that we need to figure out, because this is kind of, the wording is kind of tricky. And it's like, so when we put this to referendum, are we voting, are you voting to allow it? Do you want to opt in? Do you want to opt out?
Well, the vote would be to opt in, but we have to make it clear, and we also have to make it clear to people that if you vote not to have it, you're voting not to have a business and the revenue, but it's still,
It could be
it's still legal.
feet across the street, yeah, okay.
My personal opinion is to take the path where we don't, I don't even see why we should go to a referendum. I don't have anybody beating down my door saying,
Yeah.
no, don't do this.
Now, I have a lot of people beating down my door
Saying
about
do
the
that.
dollar store. And I do have people that want us to have them.
I actually have
Yeah.
folks that are interested in doing that as a business.
Yes, I know of some too. And so
So,
So what does a referendum cost us?
It
That
does-
way you get the people involved.
it pushes anything to November. I'm adamantly against,
I thought this
I'm
was
adamantly
until
against going to
December.
referendum, but
mine too.
Well, then it becomes official 31 December. If we don't make a decision by 31 December, no matter what, you're opted in. And I think our residents, because of the nature of this, I want to do a referendum for two reasons. One, I think we need to hear from our residents. If it's overwhelmingly for or overwhelmingly against, we need to know. This decision like this shouldn't be made by the five of us.
But this has also been around long enough where I think we should have heard that already.
Second, I don't think a lot of people really understand this, and this gives us time to push the information out. This is a little confusing. I don't think, I think when people say we're gonna opt out, that means nothing. It means no marijuana. That's not the case. There's like 9 different subsections in here, and opting out only affects 2.
yeah, you'll still be able to grow it in the village, process it in the village, distribute, have a distribution center, a micro business. All of these things, all we're doing is saying, we don't want the ones where we're gonna get the sales tax revenue.
So I see this as kind of an educational, one, I think
It
it's.
doesn't hurt.
I think we can do that without referendum.
I think it does hurt us because it delays anybody who's potentially looking at opening a business in the village, they have to now wait until after the election. It's also not a non-year election for the village, right? Nobody's running this year. So it would be, the village residents would have to come out specifically to vote just for this.
I think it's personally a waste of time.
Well, I'm with Pat. I don't know enough. This is, and it doesn't hurt us.
It does.
If a business has to wait 6 months, what were they doing last year when COVID was around? Nobody was.
Yeah, but
beating our door
the
down to
rules
start
for
a
this didn't come
business.
in place until,
Well, the
Yeah,
rules
March
are December.
31st.
yeah, March 31st of this year.
Yeah, but who read it?
But the
A
other
lot
thing,
of people.
but the other
some
thing
people
too
wanna
is-
do that as business.
Tim, nobody can do anything anyways until the Cannabis Control Board is set, and they have not even set that yet.
Yeah.
And then the Cannabis
True,
Control
but-
Board has to
But
set
all
the
things
rules and
that go into place
regulations.
To get there.
They can
it's
still
tough.
do all those things.
I think they'll just take they'll take it elsewhere.
Yeah, I think it's,
Competition will come in. If it's such a gold mine, there'll
Well, I
be
just-
other people doing it.
I know these are people that
How hard can
live
it
in
be
the
to open up a
community,
store?
and why would you want somebody from outside community to come in and make the business and make the money when you could have one of your own residents do it?
They can still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but if you're prolonging everything, they might just say, well, screw it, I gotta go through all this long and process, I'll just go down the street and wherever else, land USA.
Cortlandville, I sat in on theirs. Cortlandville has pushed theirs.
And I think it's foolish.
Town of Homer, they pushed theirs.
Yeah, I think that's also foolish.
So, by us putting this to a referendum to the people, I don't think it hurts us. And I think it helps give us a better gauge.
well, if
we
we're
have to
gonna do
vote,
that,
vote's not to go that
yeah, I definitely vote against it, but if we're gonna do it, we also have to set the language for the referendum right now in this meeting.
We do.
Yeah,
Well, we
We gotta have it for
have
August.
to have it by, we have to have it into the Board of Elections by 2 August, which is Monday.
Well, it's really great to have this much notice, and I just got this packet today. I didn't even read it. It's like 12 pages of fine print. It's a
It's
little
pretty
sad.
reading, but you consider the age of the population of the village. I don't think that they know enough about it. You know, they need to be better informed.
Yeah, well, I mean, being informed isn't really gonna change. I mean, it will change whether or not we have a business where we get sales tax. It won't change whether or not someone buys a cornfield and grows a whole field of it.
There's two issues. One, we either, and we have to do it tonight, obviously, which is to my dismay. One, well, I gotta watch fingers here. I'm sorry. Anyhow, one is we gotta either put it up to a referendum and come up with the wording. Or two, we just say, hey, we're all good and that's it, right? Is that the two options?
Yeah, so
All right,
actually,
do we want to vote on either option?
well, I mean, I think we have to, since I think Nikon does have sample opt-out retail sale language.
I'm not sure.
Do you mind if I interrupt, guys? I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Dante.
Okay, am I on a big?
Please don't interrupt.
Well, so from what I understood, because Pat asked me to do a little bit of research a couple of days ago for this topic, you guys are going to need to pass an opt-out law, and I think we're going to have to hold a special session and do a public notice that you're going to be passing this opt-out law. I don't think you can just do a resolution to put it to a permissive referendum. The law does allow a permissive referendum, but that would be something that you would put into this, properly noticed law. So I think we would have to have a special hearing or a special meeting with proper notice that you're going to be voting on this prior to, geez, what is that? Tuesday is the second? Monday?
But I think we're just voting on which direction we want to go right now. We're not voting on the.
Right, but you can't just say, "Hey, town, village, we're going to have a referendum on this issue." You need to pass a law that is.
Yeah, we have to pass a law.
And the law would be opting out of either hotel or
There's a seasoning for the law.
Yeah.
2 weeks. I don't think we can do that, but we don't have 2 weeks.
New York State doesn't really have a constitution like other states where you can just put things up to referendum. Some states are more active in that, particularly in the West and New England. But New York State's constitution is kind of predicated on electing people to represent them and vote on those issues. So it's always a cumbersome process to put things up for referendum. We don't have citizens initiatives or that sort of thing. So my opinion is that we would need to pass a local law opting out of one or both of the two issues, and to pass a local law, we would need to provide proper public notice to do so.
So what that would mean is if we pass the law, then we cannot send it right to referendum. And then we put the onus on people to get 20% of the registered people in the village to sign.
All I wanted from the referendum.
No,
I'm not against this.
the New York State law does allow for permissive referendum. So just by a provision in the law, you can automatically provide for it to go to referendum.
Yeah, but the deadline for us to send it to referendum is August 2nd.
Yes, correct. So it would probably be a special as well.
Dante doesn't need 5 days notice or more?
I believe it's 5 days, but I'm only about 80 or 90% sure of that right now. I have notes somewhere, but hold on. I'll answer that question in a second.
Dante, what are you doing now? I'm looking at conducting the permissive referendum in villages. A local law adopts, so we still have to do the local law. Then, I guess.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
It needs to season and we need to get notice.
Because if we did it tomorrow morning, we technically have 5 days to the 2nd.
I just wanted to have input from the people. I'm not against this at all. Like I said, I went to college, so I mean, I'm not against it. But, I don't know. I just don't know what the people think. I haven't been, they haven't been hammering down my emails or phone or anything.
No,
I think the vast majority are kind of
They don't know. I don't
ignorant
think.
of
Yeah.
what's going on.
That's my
That
guess,
was my point.
because I just got this thing today.
well, again, this is basically the decision is, do we want to allow a business where we get some of the revenue? Or do we want to say those two businesses we cannot have, but the other 8 kinds, they're gonna be here, consumption's here, uses here.
You know what?
And that's why I think
So all we're
it's
just
foolish to
doing-
vote on this, because all we're doing is trying to decide on whether we want tax money or don't want tax
Right.
money. That's all we're saying.
No, because
Yeah, it is.
there are some that say, I'm fine with a dispensary, but I don't want on-site consumption. There are some that want their voice heard.
So what is on-site consumption? It just means that at the place where you buy it, you can smoke.
Or he did. or
Yeah, it's, but you know, you can,
What is?
I can go to Dasher's right now and eat a pop brownie and that's it.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
what in the
there's
world is the
no-
difference?
There is no difference.
I think we got put into a box here on the timing. Thank our great state senators and congress.
Well, this was not the
Assembly.
way,
This
this was
sucks.
not the way the Senate wrote the law. This is the way the governor changed the law.
Well, again, he kind of fights too.
So,
This is terrible. This is not right for us. I don't have enough information. I want to vote for it, but then again, I don't know. And I really feel bad. And I think we're put into a box where I gotta vote for it. I hope it doesn't come back.
so then if we, well, we can't vote. Well, yes, we
You said we had
can,
to.
we can have no, we can't vote tonight. We can have a law. But if we do that and go through the seasoning process and the notification process, we are thereby effectively eliminating a referendum.
But that's not what I wanted in the law or the referendum. I just wanted time to.
So put up a Facebook.
Well, see, the other thing, under
You
Article,
got
What do you
no
think?
choice.
What do you think?
under Article 9, a village board of trustees may bypass the petition process by submitting a permissive referendum to voters upon its own motion.
Yeah,
But-
yes, on a local law though, after you pass a local law, you can provide that it
You
goes.
can't do, you don't have 2 weeks.
Right, so we can do the law, but the ability for us to send it to referendum will be gone.
All right, so I make a motion to vote on this. I don't see where, we got stuck here. This is not, I'm not happy with it, but I will vote for it.
Jesus, we will vote to ban them,
No, yeah,
Oh.
no, I'm okay with it.
to,
No, I've always.
I couldn't tell which way you were going. Ed.
No, I'm okay with it. I'm just a little ticked that I didn't have enough time to listen to the people.
I
This is
mean,
just
I
kind
know
of
that,
like, you
I know that Kevin and Ed have heard from some folks that are against it. I have not heard anyone that's against it.
I
I've heard
haven't either,
multiple
but-
people that are inquiring as far as when can we begin the process of
All right.
getting one, but
This is how this is gonna all settle out politics, because this is kind of a controversial thing. It's gonna be settled in Albany, and people are gonna say, hey, they're gonna push back, they're gonna modify it, they're gonna change it again. If something isn't working well, maybe it works well, maybe it doesn't. So I'm thinking politics will change things over time. But I think we're put in a box here, so we gotta go for it.
well, yeah, I mean, I guess I did not anticipate any issue.
I'm not against you, Mayor.
No, I know you're not. I know you're not, but
Just upset.
I didn't anticipate any opposition to this. Or we would have started this discussion at some of the other board meetings, but.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we opt in.
Well, we don't have to do anything then.
Yeah, it's
Well, there
just
you go. Woo.
it's just a motion
Not my fault then.
of not, yeah.
Politics, I love it. Did I
Is
die?
it our fault that we waited too long?
We're not the only
I
organization.
mean, I don't know,
that's-
nobody has made a decision yet in this county. And I only know of 2 villages that have opted out. So everyone else is just letting it go because it's a ton of money.
Well, it's not the money.
Yeah,
It's just-
I mean, if
I
you-
just wanted people, the money, what, 3%? What are we gonna sell? $200,000 worth of pot, maybe what, million? I don't know, pick a number.
I don't know, Colorado.
2%,
right off the-
44 million.
yeah, right off the
But that's a
interstate.
whole state.
Well, no,
There's
there,
8 million people
one
in New York City,
location,
there'll be
one
hammered.
location in Massachusetts, I think did 47 million.
Oh.
I'm in,
I mean, that place
wow.
was just wall to wall.
But it's
They-
one place,
The
it's
moment
not like
they,
every village can have one, and they only
Right.
have one, okay, I can.
People across the board.
yeah, 50% of the cars in the parking
Well, how
lot
do
were
you
from
guys
New
feel
York.
about this? I mean, I'm ambivalent, I guess. Maybe I've got too
I-
much comments.
to
that
me,
are going in the
again, it's
paper
just-
now. Hope not.
I get the onside.
Speak on it when we can put polls out.
Well, it's too late.
The one thing I would say is, maybe the compromise is, okay, I don't think, I think not allowing dispensaries. I think that's short-sighted, because they're not, people don't linger, they don't hang out there, they don't look like the head shops in Ithaca. They look like a pharmacy, really. They look like a pharmacy. And people go in, they get what they want, they leave.
I don't have a problem with it.
If we want to pass a law, a local law that bans on-site consumption establishments, I would be all right with that.
Well, most places don't allow you to smoke anyhow unless you're eating it.
This would be like, I don't know, I don't really know what they had in mind with this, right? I guess they're thinking of the places in Amsterdam where you can go and
Yeah.
have a coffee and a brownie or whatever. I've never been to Amsterdam, I don't know what it's
Oh, I
like.
have.
Yeah, so you know.
Yeah,
uh,
like I say, I went to college.
So we can adjust their business model.
All right, so
If we can
we
adjust
do,
our business
we'll
model.
do nothing. then.
Well, no. So I'm just saying, I would be okay if you guys want to move forward with doing a ban on on-site consumption establishments.
I'm okay with that. I like that. Because for one thing, if you opt out, you can always opt in.
We can always opt back
We
in.
can always change our mind at no penalty. But
Oh,
what we-
okay.
I
What
don't,
we can't do is we can't opt in and then decide, oh, no, and then opt out.
This ain't work.
yeah, so with the on-site consumption, I don't really think I don't think there's gonna be a big demand for that anyway. And it's such a gray thing that
Yeah, who wants to get hammered and then try to drive home?
well, that's the thing. And again, it's not gonna stop anyone from going into a bar or whatever and eating a, consumable or walking outside and smoking a joint or whatever. It's all gonna be legal.
All right, so
But this would at least stop that one business,
you
which,
wanna make a motion to that?
So what do we, Dante?
so basically, I think it would be making a motion to task Dante with preparing a local law to ban on-site.
Yeah, but you don't have
Consumption
enough time
establishments.
again.
No, we do.
No, we do,
We would not push this to referendum.
because we're not putting that to
It
referendum.
would just
With
be
the
the way
local
it is.
law,
We have time for the local law. We just
Oh,
don't
we
have
do.
time for the direct to referendum,
All right, you feel okay with that?
Yeah.
All right, I'm with you.
right?
That's nothing, you're okay with that?
I think that's a good compromise.
He's against it, how are you?
I'm good with that.
All right, so 4-1.
So do we need a motion as to?
To direct Dante to prepare a local law banning
On-site
on-site consumption establishments.
And we can always renege on it, or. we
And again,
can
this is a place
cancel it.
like where you would walk up and say, I want to buy this cookie and eat it here. It does not stop anyone from consuming these things wherever they want or what it doesn't,
20 seconds.
right? It just stops the business from being there. But I'm okay with that if you guys are, as a compromise,
We can-
I'm not against that either,
Because we
I
can-
just don't
I'm
know.
not against it.
We can always change that later,
Yeah,
at no penalty, we can change that later.
I like that. Then we'll
I think
definitely hear
that's
from the
gonna be one that. I think dispensaries will be like this, like they're already renting space in New York City for actually, New York City already has dispensaries open. They're just not legal and nobody's stopping them. And those will go like this, the on-site consumption. We gotta wait for Stacy, it's sinfully sweet, She wants to change her
people.
business model.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So even with that option not back in, you're still against it?
Absolutely. I think it's foolish. I think everybody should be able to do it.
Tim, I get you. I'm trying to, so I'm, you
I
know,
just don't know. You know, that, again, that gives us a chance to hear from the people, and 2 months from now, we can opt out.
Once again, making a law for that just to hear what people think, I think it's foolish. I think we do a poll, ask the community. You don't need to go to any kind of.
I sort of, I mean, my thought was,
They're gonna do it whether they want anyway.
we heard for, in no uncertain terms, how people felt when a dollar store was coming,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
I mean, they let us know.
We've heard nothing. I've heard nothing.
I mean, I know that you guys have heard some stuff, but I haven't, and Tim hasn't, that hasn't.
No,
so,
nothing compared to that.
Yeah, dollar store,
My phone rang.
yeah,
You're just tasking the drafting of the law anyway, so that'll be voted upon at a later meeting.
We
right,
could still
You
do
could
both.
yeah, we could still do
And
it.
cancel in if we have to.
Yeah.
All right. I'm
Because
good
we
with
have
that.
until December 31st to pass that local law, because basically, we're, you know, we're eliminating the
have-
referendums.
To the 31st now.
We're eliminating,
to
if
do our law.
there's no
To
referendum.
do our law without a
Yes.
referendum.
All right.
So we're eliminating the referendum portion, which means we have more time to do the.
All right, so we'll hear. from
But
the
we're
people.
only talking about the on-site consumption. This
But
is,
we may
this
not
is,
do it, so I like that.
right. But the dispensaries, we're gonna allow them.
I don't see how you can stop it. New York's all in on this.
It's, like I said, if we say you absolutely can't have one here,
on
right over the
border.
viaduct,
Yeah.
or, you know, it'll be 100 yards outside the village, they'll open.
All right,
So,
all right, I'm good with that. If we,
Yeah.
We got those.
all right, so you're making a motion to task Dante with drafting a local law to prohibit retail on-site cannabis consumption establishments.
Yes.
I'm seconding it.
You're seconding it. All in favor?
No.
Aye.
100% no.
No and no. So 3-2, ayes have it.
The gentleman for our executive session, if you guys are ready to go.
Yeah, that was the most dramatic vote we've ever had, by the way.
I think you're
But
right.
there's no animosity here.
No, I understand where everyone's at, and I understand that, like, it's this weird timing thing, and,
I wish I had more
Yeah.
data and more time. I mean, this is
Yeah.
just.
well, it is dumb the way they have it. You should not, you should be able to, if you opt in 2 years from now, if you're like, this is a disaster, you know, opt out, or at least say no more new
But
ones
the
or whatever,
politics will
but
fix that by then. Our Congress, our legislators.
they'll
will
probably,
fix that.
yeah, well, the Cannabis Control Board has a certain amount of power, and they can change the laws at any point.
Right,
So they can change the laws and say your little vote that you took is, no,
No, yeah.
we don't care about it.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, politics will fix this. If
Yeah.
it's really bad,
yeah.
it will be fixed. I mean, that's the beauty of American.
Yeah,
democracy.
It'll all get
We
sorted
can
out.
change things. if
And
it's
it
not
might
right.
change very dramatically too when the federal government makes it legal, which probably would be the next couple of years. So. Congrats, Bill.
All right.
All right, well, that
That
was
was
exciting.
pretty much.
Now we need to go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter and what's the other one?
Courtland Boyce.
A potential lawsuit. Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, I discussed the Courtland Boyce from last week.
Yeah, he asked to do everything live every week,
Right.
so that's what he's saying.
I'll look to the.
I don't like it. I'd rather have us do it.
Oh,
No, it wasn't.
Well, we've got to come, we will
Oh,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
come back into sessions afterwards.
yeah, but actually before that,
Oh,
any
okay,
questions
yeah.
from the media? Tim, Don?
I had a question. Seems like a year or two ago, this board
Uh-oh.
was considering banning the sale of cigarettes.
Right,
Remember that?
I guess that's changed now.
Well-
We didn't ban cigarettes, but the question is, can you restrict dispensaries to certain zones?
no,
So you could put in a residential zone?
you cannot, you can't pass any laws that that single out dispensaries. They wrote it into law to prevent you from doing that.
Yeah, you
So-
can regulate the time, place, and manner though, like other zoning restrictions, and you can even provide to kind of concentrate them in a certain district or area. Like if
Sure
you.
about that, Dante?
Oh, am I muted?
No,
no,
I
you're
hear
good.
you. I'm just saying, are you sure about that?
Yeah, you can always regulate the time, place, and manner of businesses. That's actually fundamental to the United States. It's a part of every zoning code in every
State
state.
preemption and local time, place, and manner restrictions.
Right.
City, county, cities, villages, and towns are preempted from adopting any law, rule, ordinance, or regulation or prohibition pertaining to the operation or licensure of registered organizations, adult use cannabis licenses, or cannabinoid hemp licenses. They may nonetheless pass local laws and regulations governing the time, place, and manner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Provided such laws or regulations do not make the operation of such licensed retail dispensaries or on-site consumption sites unreasonably impracticable.
You can't regulate them out of existence, but you can regulate them, as the time, place, and manner. You can.
And they have to comply with local zoning. Yep.
Yeah, so it would be done through zoning, and that's actually what I was going to recommend after this meeting, is to kind of get some consideration to think about more comprehensive zoning wise, where you might want both the dispensaries and or the on-site consumption, as opposed to a total ban. I think maybe we can kind of tailor a specific area and manner for these establishments that might be a little bit more appropriate than an outright ban, but I'm going to work on both. But if the board had specific concerns about locations, the village doesn't have a ton of.
Well, that's the thing. There's not that many places that we can
Yeah.
put them that are also X number of feet from a school or a church. We've got schools.
It's really the 281 corridor is really the best probably and only place for those kind of businesses.
Already thought about.
So, yeah. So anyway, that's where that is.
So
And I do still want to figure out a way to ban any new places from selling cigarettes, grandfathering in the ones that already exist. We just haven't, we backburnered it. I would still like to do that.
Why would you ban new places selling cigarettes when you don't want to ban selling smoking marijuana?
Well, I mean, you don't have to smoke marijuana.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's part of the whole mix.
Yeah,
The dispensary can sell any of that stuff.
yeah, no,
So
that's
you're
true.
gonna restrict the dispensary from selling burning weed?
Oh, you can't do that, so, yeah, yeah. I don't know, I would argue that tobacco is a little more addictive than marijuana.
Well, I don't know, I wouldn't argue it. I just am saying that it's a restriction that,
Yeah,
it's a discussion another time.
yeah, I mean, we're talking about the outside chance that someone brings one to the village.
Yeah, I know what I was gonna say. You say that we heard loud and clear that the dollar store,
We did hear loud and clear about that.
that was an imminent
Right,
happening.
right.
This is not an imminent happening. When
True, I get it.
When you see the cannabis dispensary come before the planning board,
Right,
you may have the same kind of hue and cry.
sure. Yeah, no, we may. I'm not,
I don't want to be.
the county, I think, can only sustain probably 2 dispensaries.
It cost $200,000.
They're gonna be a heck of a lot of money, right?
So if your average guy on the street isn't gonna build one.
And so if you're gonna put 2 in Cortland County, where are you gonna put them? You're gonna put 1 in the city, and you're gonna put 1 in Cortlandville,
Where the people are, yeah.
Where those college students are.
right? Right. Yeah, you've gotta have 1 near the college students, and then the other one, somewhere where there's just a big retail area with a lot of traffic.
Yeah, we may not have a problem then if it's a couple $100,000 just to get a license. Wow.
It's, yeah, the
See, I
licensing
didn't know that
process will
either.
be. Yeah, it's gonna
So
be.
maybe this is all moot.
Yeah, they don't want fly by night kind of
I
operations.
don't know that. Was that in this packet that I didn't read yet?
No, that's in the law, but it's, again, the Cannabis Control Board actually has to really spell out the exact process, the fees, what you have to go through. It'll probably be roughly what it was to get a hemp growing license. I mean, this is the same discussion we had 5 years ago about whether or not it'd be legal to grow hemp, right? Because 6 years ago, you couldn't grow it anywhere. Yeah. Now, nobody cares if you grow hemp anywhere.
Sort of make the board aware that we're probably under a billable hour right now. So might be nice to go into exec to get the discussion going. That's all.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep, all right, we'll go into executive session. Great, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. Oh, go ahead.